Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. It's our Sunday Advanced Bible Study, 22nd of December, 2024. Okay, I'll be dealing with Leviticus chapter 18. It's dealing with the acts of morality amongst Israelites, right? You can go to our YouTube channel, Prophets of Awakening, check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can look at and examine them. Get the meat out. The videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. Okay? And we have our Cash App on the bottom of the screen in case you want to support the channel. Okay? For those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanak and the Torah. Tanak being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance. And the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by the Lord of hosts. Okay? Shalom and welcome to this channel. Welcome to our Sunday Advanced Bible Study. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, psalms. We got our current events, need to know information, and then we'll open up for some Q&A. Then we'll go into our lesson, which is the acts of immorality in the Leviticus chapter 18. Okay. We're going to do health moments, or we're just going to pass that up.
Shalom, we're going to pass that up.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts. All of these doing prophesied, all he's done to prophesy about us, our end time deliverance in these last days. Okay. Oh Lord, I pray unto the Lord my God. We make our confessions, O Lord, the great and dreadful God. Keep it covenant and mercy to them that love thee and to them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us a confusion of face as it is this day, to the men of Judah, to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and to all Israel that are foreign and that are far off through all the countries where thou hast driven us, because of our trespass that we have trespassed against thee. Okay, O Lord, hear this prayer and cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary and thy people. O Lord, open thine eyes to incline thy ears to hear and behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do and defer not for thy own sake, O my Lord, for thy people and your land need you desperately at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay, so with that being said, we'll read the Psalms right quick. I think it's Psalm 14. Okay. The foolishness of men. It's the Psalm of David. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The Lord looketh down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God. They are all gone aside. They are all together become filthy. There is none that doeth good, no, not one. Have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread and call not upon the Lord. There were they in the great fear. There were they in great fear, for God is in the congregation of the righteous. Yea, ye have shamed the counsel of the poor, because the Lord is his refuge. Oh, that the salvation of Israel will come out of Zion when the Lord bringeth back the captivity of his people. Jacob shall rejoice and Israel shall be glad. Okay. So with that being said, we go into some current events. Okay. We'll look at them and then we'll talk about it.
Family, what a wonderful day to be with you guys. A blessing, Baraka, on this day. Thank you for tuning in today. Hope all is well with you and yours. and that you are enjoying your blessings as well. So as always, family, let's get straight to it. Today we're going to be looking at December 25th. The history on December 25th, just a little bit. We're going to give you the condensed version, but it will be very eye-opening. The Christmas season is upon us, and as Yasharel, we know much of the history about Christmas and the pagan ties to this day. And if you're not aware of the paganism ties to this holiday, there are various videos that you can find on YouTube that covers this very extensively. But today, what I'm led to do is take a look at the history of December 25th itself. And we're also going to look at how this date is meaningful to Yasharel, specifically from what we find in the book of First Maccabees, and how that relates to Yasharel and this date, December 25th. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first question we want to ask is, why is December 25th significant? What is the importance of it? Where did it come from? Let's start with the Romans. Now this date, December 25th, and the festivals and the worship that goes on this day predates Rome, but we're going to start with Rome. It reads here, the Romans held a festival on December 25th called Dies Natalis Solis Invicti, the birthday of the unconquered sun. Yeah. The use of the title Sol Invictus allowed several solar deities to be worshipped together, including Allah Gabal, or also pronounced Ella Gabal, a Syrian god, Sol, the patron god of the Emperor Aurelian, AD 270 to 274, and Mithras, a soldier's god of Persian origin. Emperor Elagabalus, 218 to 222, introduced the festival, and it reached its height of popularity under Aurelian, who promoted it as an empire-wide holiday that was a possible inspiration of Christmas. So here we see the celebration or the birthday of the unconquered sun. Then it goes on to list various sun gods, Allah Gabal, Sol, and Mithras. And this is why I mentioned, yes, this is a celebration that was celebrated in Rome during this time. But we see here Allah Gabal, what we're going to look at next, dating back to Babylon or Mesopotamia. We also see Mithras, the name for the sun god in Persia. But make no mistake, this comes from the same worship of the sun dating back to Babylon. They all have the same description, which is the sun god. Let's continue. The Roman Emperor Aurelian established a feast of the birth of Sol Invictus on this date in 274 AD. The move elevated the sun god to a higher status among the divinities of Rome. Sol Invictus would be a popular god, considered a protector of soldiers. And within 15 years, Constantine I would declare Dies Solis Sunday to be the Roman day of rest. Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun, or more fully, Dies Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun god, was a religious title applied to at least three distinct deities during the later Roman Empire: El Gabal, Mithras, and Sol. So as we read in the earlier slide, these are three different names, but for the same entity, which means the sun god, just a different name in those regions. So again, in Mesopotamia, there's Allah Gabal. In Persia, you find them calling the sun god Mithras, and then here in Rome, being called Sol, or Sol Invictus. So let's look at the Roman Emperor Elagabalus. According to the Britannica, the family of his mother Julia Somias were hereditary high priests of the god Baal in ancient Syria, worshipped in that locality under the name Allah Gabal, thus Elagabalus. So whenever you see ancient Syria, we know that to be Assyria. And we know, of course, that Assyria is in Mesopotamia. And of course, we know the Babylonian Empire was where? It was in Mesopotamia. So the practice of sun worship going all the way back to Assyria, which we know is in that region of Mesopotamia or Babylon. And so this is where we see it coming out of, being birthed. Let's read a little bit about Baal and Baal worship. Most frequently used to refer to Baal Hadad, the god of storms and rain in Canaanite and Mesopotamian religion, and eventually became a war god as well. Baal Hadad is the central character of the Baal cycle, and also the god who appears in the biblical books Exodus and 1st and 2nd Kings. He is attested as early as the time of the Akkadian Empire 2334 to 2218 BC, but became more popular after the fall of the third dynasty of Ur, 2047 to 1750 BC, during the First Babylonian Empire. Again, we touched on some of this in our series, Abraham. This, of course, is where the Bible tells us that Abraham was from. He was from the city of Ur. We see that right there in the Torah. So again, the Emperor Elagabalus, he introduced this festival called Sol Emitus, which we know is where we get sun worship from, Elagabalus, and then eventually it would go through Constantine I. So we want to build a history on December the 25th. That's what we're doing here. We're looking at December 25th, and we're seeing the origins and the parallels of sun god worship. So before we move into how December 25th relates to Yasharel and why it's significant, or if it's not significant, we're going to look at some scripture really quick. Joshua 24:15, Joshua speaking. He's speaking to the people. He's warning the people about this very thing, worshiping idol gods. He says, and if it seem evil to you to serve Yah, choose this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve Yah. And then in Judges 6:25, and it came to pass the same night that Yah said unto him, take your father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that your father has, and cut down the grove that is by it. So here we see Baal worship by Yasharel. Our ancestors at this time was worshiping Baal and had made an altar to Baal, and also had constructed a grove that was by it. The Most High says, tear it down, cut down that grove. When we read throughout 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, read through Exodus, we see what the Most High has to say about Baal. Really all over the Torah, right? And Kings, 1 Kings, 2 Kings, Chronicles, all over the prophets. And we know that this is the reason why Yasharel was taken off and scattered to the four corners of the earth, because of not only worshiping Baal, but other pagan gods, the gods of the regions that they were living in. But the last thing we're going to look at today is Maccabees. Let's look at a couple of accounts in the book of Maccabees, the first chapter of 1 Maccabees, and also the fourth chapter of 1 Maccabees. So one thing we need to know is Maccabees was removed from the 66 books of the traditional King James Version. You do still find it in the Ethiopian printed Bible, which we know is the oldest printed Bible in circulation. And we can find these two books also in the Catholic's Bible. Now we know at this time the Greek Empire, starting with Alexander the Great, had later became the Hasmonean dynasty after Alexander the Great passed. Different generals from the empire took different parts of the empire. The Hasmonean dynasty was part of that empire, had then occupied the city of Jerusalem and Yasharel. So we find a family called the Maccabees who revolted against this empire. Again, they're under occupation to the Hasmonean dynasty. So let's look at 1 Maccabees, first chapter, and let's look at how this relates to December the 25th. In the first chapter, in the 41st verse, it reads, then the king wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and that all should give up their particular customs. All the Gentiles accepted the command of the king. Many, even from Yasharel, gladly adopted his religion and sacrificed to idols and profaned the Shabbat. And the king sent letters by messengers to Jerusalem and the towns of Yehuda. He directed them to follow customs strange to the land, to forbid burnt offerings and sacrifices and drink offerings in the sanctuary, to profane Shabbats and festivals, to defile the sanctuaries and the priests, to build altars and sacred precincts and shrines for idols, and sacrifice swine and other unclean animals, to leave their sons uncircumcised. They were to make themselves abominable by everything unclean and profane, so that they would forget the law and change all the ordinances. He added, and whoever does not obey the command of the king shall die. Moving down to the 54th verse. Now on the 15th day of Caslu, in the 145th year, they erected a desolating sacrilege on the altar of burnt offering. They also built altars in the surrounding towns of Judah and offered incense at the doors of the houses and in the streets. The books of the law they found and tore to pieces and burned with fire. Dropping down to verse 59. On the 25th day of the month, they offered sacrifice on the altar that was on the top of the altar of burnt offering. According to the decree, they put to death the women who had their children circumcised. We definitely see that there were brutal things going on at this time. Epiphanes was absolutely wicked and evil. Make no doubt about it. The children of Yasharel, like so many times before, are now being forced to follow the paganistic ways of a foreign king. So now they are no longer able to worship the Most High freely. Down in the 59th verse, it tells us that on the 25th day of the month, they offered a sacrifice. This is the 25th day of the month of Caslu. They offered up swine on the altar of offering in the temple at Jerusalem. When we skip over to chapter 4, we see the Maccabees, led by Judas Maccabees, preparing to fight a battle against General Georgias, who's the head general appointed by King Antiochus Epiphanes. In the battle, Georgias has 6,000 men, as opposed to Judas Maccabees, who has 3,000 men. So reading chapter 4, verse 12, when the foreigners looked up and saw them coming against them, they went out from their camp to battle. Then the men with Judas blew their trumpets and engaged in battle. The Gentiles were crushed and fled into the plain, and all those in the rear fell by the sword. They pursued them to Gazara and to the plains of Idumea and Azotus and Jamnia, and 3,000 of them fell. And Judas and his force turned back from pursuing them and said to the people, "Do not be greedy for the plunder, for there is a battle before us. Georgias and his force are near us in the hills, but stand now against our enemies and fight them, and afterwards seize the plunder boldly." Skipping down to verse 21, it reads, speaking of General Georgias, it reads this: when they perceived this, they were greatly frightened. And when they had saw the army of Judas drawn up in the plain for battle, they all fled into the land of the Philistines. This was a great victory for Yasharel. General Georgias has now fled. Him and his forces have fled into the hills. They fled all the way to the lands of the Philistines. This was big for Yasharel. Now, what does this have to do with December 25th? Let's continue to read. Reading down at the 52nd verse, it reads, early in the morning on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is the month of Caslu, in the 148th year, they rose and offered sacrifice as laws direct on the new altar of burnt offering that they had built. At the very season, on the very day that the Gentiles had profaned it, it was dedicated with songs and harps and lutes and cymbals. It goes on and reads, all the people fell on their faces and worshiped and blessed Elohim of heaven who had prospered them. So they celebrated the dedication of the altar for 8 days and joyfully offered burnt offerings. They offered a sacrifice of well-being and a thanksgiving offering. So we see here that the Greek Hasmonean dynasty had occupied Jerusalem. They had also profaned the temple on their holy day, which was December 25th. They came in defiling it by offering up swine at the altar of the temple. Later, Judas Maccabees and his forces take back the temple, take back Jerusalem from the Hasmonean dynasty. They rededicate the temple, as we just read there, and then they rededicated it on the day that the Gentiles came in and defiled it. On the same day, which is the 25th of Caslu. The 25th of Caslu, of course, we know that to be December. So,
any comments on that? Okay, anybody heard anything about that? So that's I'm always reading that. I'm always opening First Maccabees, and reading that same situation. Like I said, Daniel says that was a prophecy from Daniel that's being fulfilled. And Daniel said that they was gonna, the abomination that make it desolate, that was gonna be it, not rededicate the temple. So that right there let you know the people that's rededicating the temple ain't Israelites. Because the prophecy is that, let me read it. But that's how far back December 24th go. We sleeping on it. But anyway, it says in the book of Daniel, Daniel 9:26 says, and after 62 weeks shall the Messiah be cut off. It was Zerubbabel, but not for himself and the people of the prince that shall come. That's Antiochus Epiphanes, shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, the temple, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. And unto the end, wars and desolations shall return. And then 27, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifices and the oblation to cease. For the overspreading of the abomination, he shall make it desolate, even unto the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. So there's no way in there they're going to rededicate the temple. So that right there is those Edomites. They always wanted the land, and they always wanted to build a temple in Jerusalem. So when right here, they rededicated the altar, just like they're trying to do right now over there. Rededicate the altar, but it don't have nothing to do with us. It's their own wicked desires. So right here, so the people that did this is the ones that's in the land of Israel in 70 AD. Not the Israelites. The Israelites had been gone. But the thing about it, what this brother shining light on was, it was on the 25th day of December. It was on a pagan holiday, which is the same day we worship Christmas today. And that's big. So, any comments? Okay, play this.
In the intricate tapestry of human history, one of the most powerful and influential religious institutions in the world has emerged, the Catholic Church. For centuries, it has shaped nations, dictated customs, and maintained unquestioned spiritual authority for millions. But behind its imposing facade are questions that few dare to explore. Is this really the religion that Jesus established? What connection does it have with the early apostles, and how did the Roman emperors influence its development? Why are there so many differences between the early church and the current structure of Catholicism? Is the Vatican hiding secrets about the past of the Catholic Church? Is it possible that some of its doctrines are based more on human traditions than on the Word of God? And finally, how did it become one of the greatest political and cultural forces in the world? In this video, we will delve into the deepest corners of history and unmask the mysteries surrounding the Catholic Church. We will analyze its roots, its transformations, and its controversies, always in light of the Bible and historical evidence. Before we continue, we would like to know your opinion. Do you believe that the Catholic Church is, as many claim, the authentic church established by Jesus Christ? It would be an honor to hear your perspective on this. Let's get started. Concerning the origin of traditional Catholicism, it is true that Catholic dogma is presented as a declaration that the Catholic Church is the true Church of Christ. However, to truly understand the birth and evolution of Catholicism, it is crucial to look beyond doctrinal claims and examine the historical record. These do not always match the official image that the Church has promoted over the centuries, and often reveal complex and uncomfortable details that many prefer not to explore. The history of early Christianity, marked by internal struggles, theological differences, and the gradual consolidation of power in Rome, is a subject full of nuances that do not always fit into the simplified narrative sometimes presented. One of the fundamental aspects in the formation of traditional Catholicism was, without a doubt, the figure of the Pope. According to Catholic teaching, Jesus gave Peter, one of his apostles, special authority over his church, which has been interpreted over the centuries as the foundation of papal primacy. This idea of a centralized authority in Rome was essential to the cohesion and expansion of the Catholic Church. especially at a time when Christianity was in constant conflict with other interpretations of Jesus' message. Over the centuries, this papal primacy became a fundamental pillar of Catholicism, allowing the Church to maintain a unified hierarchical structure, although not without its own challenges and controversy. Now, it is important to understand the meaning of the word Catholic and its origin. The term Catholic comes from the Greek katholikos, which means universal or total, that is, something that encompasses everyone without exclusions. In its earliest uses within Christianity, this term did not have the connotation of a specific religious denomination as we understand it today, but rather it referred to the universal church, or the universal Christian community, that is, to the church that extended to all peoples and nations, regardless of their origin, culture, or language. In its early days, the term Catholic was used to describe the inclusive and all-encompassing nature of early Christianity, a movement that sought to unify believers from diverse regions and backgrounds into a single faith. As Christianity spread beyond Judea, especially throughout the Roman Empire, the term Catholic helped differentiate Christians from those who followed other religions or sects. In this sense, being Catholic meant being part of a unified community of believers who shared not only the teachings of Jesus, but also a common organizational structure and a uniform interpretation of those teachings. The first time the term Catholic is used in this context is in a letter from St. Ignatius of Antioch, around 110 after Christ, who refers to the church in terms of the Catholic Church to emphasize its universality and its connection to all Christians throughout the world. It was not just a geographical term, but a principle of doctrinal and spiritual unity. Thus, the concept of the Catholic Church implied a unified faith in the gospel of Christ, and a system of shared beliefs and practices that transcended local or regional differences. It is interesting to note that, in its origins, the use of Catholic was not necessarily linked to the idea of a centralized ecclesiastical hierarchy, as in the case of the modern Catholic Church, but was used to describe a broader unity encompassing all Christian communities, united by their common faith in Christ. Over the centuries, however, the term took on a more institutional and doctrinal meaning, especially with the consolidation of papal authority in Rome, the definition of dogmas, and the creation of a hierarchical structure that identified the Church with the figure of the Pope as its visible head. Thus, the term Catholic went from denoting a universal characteristic and spiritual unity of the early Church to becoming the name of a specific religious institution that, over time, it was distinguished from other branches of Christianity, such as Protestantism and Orthodoxy, especially after the Reformation of the 16th century. Now, the first 4 centuries of Christianity are key to understanding this topic. Christianity began with the ministry of Jesus in the 1st century, who preached a message of love, forgiveness, and salvation. After his death and resurrection, the apostles continued to spread this message, founding Below are some reasons that cast doubt on whether Catholicism meets the criteria of the true church according to the Bible. Number 1, union of politics with religion. Catholicism, especially since the time of the Roman Empire, has been deeply linked to political power. The institutionalization of Christianity as the official religion of the empire under Emperor Constantine marked the beginning of a symbiotic relationship between church and state. This union led to the accumulation of political and economic power by the church, something that contrasts with the simplicity and humility taught by Jesus and his apostles.
So, like I was saying before, when I think it was mentioned in the previous video, like I said, once you go back and don't deal with doctrine, but start dealing with history, and then you come to find out that it talks about this beast that's going to come, and the beast going to receive a wound in the head, and he's going to come back to life. And they got, and the Gentiles in Revelation got you believing that the Antichrist coming, they're going to try to kill him, they're going to shoot him in the head, but he's going to recover from the wound. But when you go to Daniel, you come to find out that it's 4 beasts. And a beast is a system. or kingdom or government that's in place. And Daniel showed you that there were 4 of them. So there's 4 beasts. The one that's supposed to receive the wound in the head is actually the Roman Empire, 4 beasts. Chechen, Edom, they all came together as one. That's the 4th beast. So if the beast is a system, okay, then the head of that beast is Rome. So we know Rome got sacked. You will see the womb in the head. Rome got sacked, that 4th beast. And then after he got sacked is when Constantine came on the scene. The Roman Empire got divided up into 4 parts. Constantine came, subdued those 3, like it says in Daniel. He came and subdued 3 kings, and he became the Roman Empire again. But now they had our records, our books. So now they come up with the Holy Roman Empire. It started out as a Roman Republic, and it received the womb in the head. They sacked Rome, and it was divided up. It dissipated, and it divided into 4 parts. Constantine brought it back together. Christianity is what they use to heal the wound. And so, like I said before, they got you looking way over at the Revelations and looking to the day trying to figure out who this beast is. But the beast ain't no man. The beast is a system. And then not only that, it's the Gentiles. The very people we talked about the other night. That the Most High said, it's some wicked people that's on earth. And he don't want Israel to mingle with them. These the people, this the 4th beast. The Roman Empire, like I said, and how it came into fruition was the beast, the Antichrist came, which is Antiochus. And we was just reading in this other video how that he came and he was destroying all the books of the law, burning up the books of the law. That's the Antichrist right there. You waiting on him to come. He already did his thing. So the 4 beasts received a wound in the head. Those giants broke through the wall, Hadrian Wall, came through all the way up, fought their way all the way up to Rome, sacked Rome, plundered Rome. They lived in Rome for raping women and raping men and everything for 2 years. That's the wound that the beast received in the head. Then they finally left. They coerced them and gave them made a deal with them, and they ended up leaving. But they sacked Rome and caused the Roman Empire to be divided. Constantine came and brought it back together at the Council of Nicaea. That's how you get this church, all this ideology that we got now with Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. All that came about when Constantine them created at the Council of Nicaea. And they took those, they was copying and they revised they transliterated our records from Hebrew to Greek in Alexandria. That's how you get the Greek, the Septuagint. And then once they got it in the Greek, they studied it. And from there is how you get JC. They turn Serapis into JC, and all these doctrines that you got, all those books, New Testament books, pseudepigrapha books. Most of them they had our records in Egypt. And they read them, but they didn't translate them into Greek. So that's why like I said, you don't see none of this stuff. The Greeks learned from the Romans, they worship the woman. That's why you see all these women in the New Testament and all that, because of now they got hotel records and they synchronized it. But they got you thinking that ain't happened yet. We waiting on that to happen. No, when the 4 beasts came on the scene, when these Gentiles came on the scene, is when that started. They didn't superimpose it to, back to now and got you looking for all these different events that transpire now when they already transpired. That's the reason we in the state that we in. Because they change and superimpose everything according to the knowledge that our forefathers had left for us. Okay, any comments on that? Comments? Okay, so with that being said, I'm gonna play some need to know information again. Yeah, play some need to know. I think this is people need to know. Like I said, we so close to, people have no idea.
Security Secretary says the Chinese hacking campaign against our telecom system is still going on. Watch this. You correctly describe this as a very, very serious matter. China has, in fact, hacked into our telecommunications providers, some of them. And the extent of it is quite serious. And I should say that in response to that, we have taken action. Just today, our Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency published mobile communications best practices that everyone should read. Retired Force Guard General Jack Keane joins me now. General, don't we need a stronger response than a memo?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it, and we're not properly organized to deal with this. Let me state a couple of facts here. China is conducting cyber warfare as an instrument of their national power in a way that we've not seen before. Russia is also very good at it. China, as we know, has stolen historically significant amounts of our intellectual property that's averaging somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 billion a year. This is the greatest transfer of funding and property in history. Secondly, what is happening here, China is using cyber warfare to penetrate some of our critical infrastructure while we're at peace, to understand what the challenges are associated with it. We know for a fact, if conflict breaks out in the region, Stuart, China will weaponize their cyber capability to attack the homeland in the United States. To do what? While conflict is going on with hard power, they will use this to penetrate our systems here, the electric grid, to shut down electricity. They will shut down oil and gas. They will go after our water supply. They will shut down major pharmaceutical companies so there's no distribution of drugs. Go into the finance and banking system to shut down our access to funding. What is the intent of that? The intent of that is to break the will of the American people, to take a knee and force the government of the United States to capitulate. So hard power would be used where China dominates us in the Pacific region right now, and they would use cyber warfare to break the will of the American people at home. This is serious threat. It's serious business. The DHS secretary is understating how serious this is. We need a full disclosure to the American people what we're up against here.
Yeah. The other side of the coin is the Pentagon's warning about China's rapid hard power military buildup. They said China's nearly tripled its nuclear arsenal since 2020, becoming more aggressive in the South China Sea. Got all of that. General, we've talked about this before, but don't we need a significant increase in defense spending, which at the moment is not in the cards?
Yes, absolutely. Look, China's conducting the most rapid military buildup in history, and they have gone right past us in every category except submarine. I'm talking about ships, airplanes, offensive missiles, defensive missiles. The list goes on. Their defense industrial base can outproduce ours over the next 10 or 15 years. We're not even close to that. What we need to do is not go platform to platform with them, Stuart. We didn't go platform to platform with the Soviet Union, who outgunned and outmanned us. But we got to build up enough so that we impose cost on them. And they recognize, well, this is going to be too hard, and the doubt is in question whether we can succeed or not. That's where we got to be. We are not there now. And yes, we do need a defense buildup. And at the same time I say that, and by the way, all of our budgets for the 4 years under Biden have been flat, no growth. And that is absolutely reckless in doing that. We need a defense buildup, but we also need to change the defense business practices so that money is being spent effectively and we're not wasting it. Those two things have to happen together.
Got it. Now I'm going to change the subject for a moment. I'll turn to the war in Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is reportedly holding high-level meetings with top security officials. They're trying to reach a ceasefire deal, apparently. Netanyahu just met with Adam Bola.
So anybody got any comments on that? What they just heard? Yes, like I said, you have no idea how close we are. Like I've been saying over and over again. It's telling us in the book Ezra, second Ezra, Ezra was given a vision of peace, different than with more details in it than what Daniel had of the full beast. And in Ezra, he tells them that it's two little wings that were reserved for the end to bring the beast, the full beast, to an end. The two little wings came up, Russia and China. Said they only rule for a short time, and the only reason they came up at the end was to bring the beast to an end. So, like I said before, the Chaldeans took us into captivity in the last captivity in Babylon, but it wasn't the Chaldeans that released us. The Lord of hosts used Cyrus, the second beast, and he the one came, and Most High used him as a deliverer. He the one came and freed us. Him, Darius, and Artaxerxes. Artaxerxes is the king that dealt with Esther. So he used those three kings in a matter of 70 years. The prophecy was 70 years. So he said, Cyrus came, then Artaxerxes, and Most High had his spirit on them, and they delivered us. And we look at the same thing now. It ain't the Americans. We already see they wicked as hell. They don't have no remorse. It's these Romans, these Chinese and these Russians that's gonna free us. And but for the wrong reasons, right? But they're gonna free us. So they're gonna, because they know who we are, and wherever we at, that nation is gonna continue to exist because the Most High is not gonna let us get annihilated. So Putin has said it over and over again that Hitler told everybody, the America is holding, USA is holding America's, the Lord of hosts jewels. The apple of his eye is in America. So Russia and China, they're gonna acknowledge that when time comes. So you're gonna find out. I'm gonna play this video. I'm gonna counter this video right here with another one. Then we'll go into the topic for discussion. But they keep saying these drones coming up out of the ocean and coming into America. And now we know listen to this next video, they Chinese drones, and they tied to the previous spy balloon that came across. They're allowed to come across America, and these drones coming in, they casing everything because of what they're getting ready to do. But like I said before, maybe 6 months ago, maybe 6, 7 months ago, I talked about the money, the $100 bill that they got this water event on the money. When you fold that dollar a certain type of way, it shows a tsunami on the East Coast, and specifically coming over the buildings in New York, a water event. So if it's on the money, like I said, they spent all that money to put that on the money, it's gonna happen. So you say, what are you talking about? 9/11 was on our currency. They had 9/11 encrypted in our money on our currency. They had what Timothy McVeigh did in Oklahoma. They had it encrypted on the money before it happened. So they got this, and then they got this water. This tsunami gonna hit the East Coast. It's on the money. So you say, what are you talking about? Well, Russia got this sub called the Poseidon, and it's able to cause tsunamis. It's the last 6, 7 months, they can't locate it. They don't know where the hell it's at. right? And then it can sit on the bottom of the ocean for years if they want to. Just sit there. They don't know, but they can't locate it. And then now all of a sudden here come these drones, and they say the drones coming up out of the ocean. Come on, like I said, just like when you see something that they got on the dollar, you can go Google it or whatever. Dollar is gonna happen because everything else happened that they put on the dollar. So that event is right around the corner. It's tied to me looking at it with the unctions of the Most High. You can look right at it. You can see what they're doing, but so many people don't even know these things. Everything is in full effect. They're using Project Bluebeam, HARPs. Everything is in full effect right now. What they're getting ready to do. Time is short. Okay. Any comments or questions? So let's look at this guy right here. This is bouncing off the previous video. You know, we'll start reading out of Leviticus 18.
Attacks coming on U.S. soil. Today is December the 22nd, 2024, and I'm going to get you caught up on the latest. Now, we've been hearing these warnings for quite some time that have been issued out. I'm going to share with you even more that are coming out from this expert. He is sounding the alarms, saying that China wants war with the United States. These are his exact words. He's saying that they are here. He believes that these drones are from them. They're scoping out our facilities. The Biden administration is failing to do anything about it. And he is saying, just like with that balloon that floated over the U.S., they waited until it got into the ocean to shoot it down. And he is saying that they want to unalive Americans. They're preparing for physical attacks and cyber attacks. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you the latest video footage that's coming out on this, as this expert, Gordon Chang, he has been all over the news. He is sounding the alarms right now, trying to warn the American people and let them know potential attacks are on the way. Now, let me know, do you agree? Do you think that the drones and what we are experiencing right now is the precursor to war? This is exactly what he is saying. He is saying the Biden administration needs to come out. They need to tell the truth to the American people, and that we need to prepare for potential attacks that are coming. Now, I've already with you footage that has come out in roughly the past 3 days where he was on Forbes Breaking News, and he said Americans need to realize that this attack is coming. They cannot depend on the government. He said, stop it.
So like I was saying, when you do your homework, you know, you would assume that this ain't nothing new right here. Like I said, and we constantly keep going to these wicked ass people. We already looking at how you got to associate their countenance and their appearance to the wickedness. They all go together. So this dude right here, I mean, go back to how they make Teddy Roosevelt, this big old hero, right? Well, it's the same thing happening now it happened then. He knew that those planes were gonna come and attack Pearl Harbor. He's sitting in the White House waiting on the plane. He know they was coming. So right here, same thing. This ain't nothing new. They know what's coming. Come on.
Up on your supplies, because you need to realize they're going to take out our power grids. And he said, when they do this, you are going to be without connection to the U.S. federal government for quite some time. You need to be able to sustain on your own. He also said, we are going to get hit. This was his exact words, on American soil. We have not seen an attack like this in quite some time, and that somebody needs to level with the American people and let them know that this is about to unfold. Well, he is coming out even more. I'm going to share with you more video clips as he is saying, prepare to be attacked. He is saying that this is China. China is ready. They're enhancing their nuclear arsenal. They have cyber criminals that are running rampant on our U.S. critical infrastructure systems. And he also said that he believes right now that these drones, they are from China. Let me know, do you agree? Put yes if you think that this is the preparations for attack. If you think no, put no. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm going to share with you the latest. Now, let's take a look at some of the headlines that have been coming out. And this one coming out just in the past 24 hours here. Expert Gordon Chang warns China wants to go to war and wants to unalive Americans. I'm going to share with you the video footage. Now, he's been warning this for about a week or so. Suspicious drone activity, it is too large. It is too well organized. China expert Gordon Chang says, this is what Biden must do to calm the escalating fears around the mysterious drones, he says. And I'm going to share with you what it is he's saying, as he is saying he needs to tell the American people the truth. We are not dumb. We know they're lying to us. This is actually what was vocalized exactly from Donald Trump, that the Biden administration knows. The government knows, the military knows, but they're keeping you in the dark on purpose. They think that you're dumb. They're gaslighting you, saying, oh, what you're seeing is planes, it's drones. And they're saying, no, we are smarter than that. We know that something is going on and you're keeping us in the dark. And we actually heard Donald Trump say, I'm canceling my trip to Bedminster, New Jersey because of these drones. Well, now you're going to be hearing from Gordon Chang, who is coming out, and he is warning, and I've already shared some clips with you before, but now we're hearing even more coming out, and he is saying, you need to be ready. We are about to be hit and attacked. So I'm going to share with you the latest coming out on this. This overnight, this interview that is coming out from Fox News. I've also got some other ones coming out as well, as he has been everywhere sounding the alarms, and I'm going to share with you the latest video footage. Now, do me a favor, if you appreciate the updates, keeping you up to speed on the latest. Like I said, as more transpires, I'll make sure to let you guys know. I'll hop on right away, get you caught up, so that way you can see exactly what's taking place. If you appreciate that, do me a favor before we dive in. Today is December the 22nd, 2024. Please take a second, hit that like button for me. I see we've got exactly 2,200 people live with me in the room. We've got 300 likes. If I could get half of the room to hit the like button if you appreciate it and you haven't done so yet, please take a second to do so. Help spread this out further so more people can get the latest information. Also, if this is your first time here and you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. I'll keep you up to speed as the news rolls out, and I always cite the sources. They're linked in the description with hyperlinks. Put it on the screen, read right from it, share with you the videos so that you know exactly what is going on, and you can rest assured I try to hold myself to a level of accountability to the community so it is the latest news. And also, additional resources linked down below as well. People were asking me about the iodide potassium tablets and them for kids as well. Those are linked in the description also. There are Amazon links. You can buy a small pack for 15, 20 bucks. He actually warned those ready in case, and then applying it so that we and our families are ready. But with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the video footage. I'm going to share with you the latest coming out so that way you can see it for yourself, as they are saying they are preparing for war. He is saying China wants war with Taiwan and the U.S. They are preparing, and he is asking the question, is U.S. preparing? And he is saying a resounding no, I don't think so. In fact, he says, I think that the Biden administration they are keeping us in the dark and not really doing anything. So, like I said, let's go ahead and dive right in and get you caught up on the latest. Let's take a look at this video footage so you can see it for yourself.
Well, the new Pentagon report says that China is rapidly expanding its nuclear arsenal, nearly tripling it under the Biden administration. Assistant Secretary of Defense for Indo-Pacific Security Affairs, Eli Ratner, sounding the alarm over why China could be doing this.
Expansion of China's nuclear program raises the question of what are all these nuclear weapons for? And they haven't answered that question.
Why are they doing this? Well, Beijing's move comes as also as deepening ties with Russia while increasing pressure on Taiwan. Gordon Chang is here, Gatestone Institute senior fellow, author of the book China is Going to War. Gordon, always good to see you. Do you think it is just that? Do you think that China is preparing to go to war, potentially over Taiwan or even perhaps with us?
Well, certainly, because we've seen all the preparations for it. Xi Jinping can't stop talking about going to war. He's also engaged in the fastest and the largest military buildup since the end of the Second World War. He's stockpiling grain and other commodities. He is trying to sanction-proof his regime. He's firing military officers who are opposed to going to war. He's mobilizing civilians, and he's surveying the U.S. for nuclear weapons strikes. We see all these Chinese incursions and attempted incursions into our military bases, especially in September when a Chinese national twice tried to sneak on to a U.S. nuclear weapons base in the lower 48 states. So it's clear what they want to do. Whether they will actually do it or not is a different question, but they're making preparations to kill Americans.
To kill Americans. Are we prepared for this?
No, we're not. The President of the United States, the one with the constitutional duty to protect Americans from foreign attacks, his number one constitutional duty. He doesn't talk to the American people about this. His budgets don't reflect priorities of getting us ready to go to war. And unfortunately, we have American people who think they're at peace. But yeah, we're at peace right now, but could be on the edge of conflict.
How will President-elect Trump differ than the current policy?
I don't know. We're going to find out. I think that we're going to see more money for the military. We're going to also see an emphasis on warfighting capacity, as opposed to, for instance, DEI and other things that the Pentagon has been pushing. But we will see how he looks at this. And his first budget is going to tell us quite a lot about it.
If you were to advise President Trump, I mean, what would you say? What would you say to him in terms of what type of policies the U.S. should follow in order to try and blunt Beijing?
First thing is he needs to talk to the American people. He needs to talk to the American people about how dangerous the situation is. That's not really his style. But the other thing that I think he needs to do is to say to China, look, we will defend Taiwan. And if we do that, China will not attack because it doesn't want the casualties, even if they think that they can take the place. But again, that's not President Trump's style. And when asked the question during the campaign, he said, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do with regard to Taiwan. So these are questions which remain to be answered. Good thing is that I think he will speed up arms sales to Taiwan, and that'll be a message to Beijing. But whether that's sufficient, I'm not sure.
And finally, what do you predict? I mean, how do we go down this road? And at what point does it become untenable? And what point is there a potential clash, if there ever is one?
The problem is the world's falling apart. We've got all of these wars around the world. China's involved in 3 proxy wars right now: Ukraine, North Africa, and the Middle East. And it's threatening to go to war. One thing we know, Xi Jinping may not have made the decision to go to war yet, but he's made the decision to risk war. He's made the decision to risk war with a U.S. treaty ally, which means he's already made the decision that he's prepared to attack the United States. So we have got to get that message across to the American public, and especially to the Pentagon, which thinks it's at peacetime. There's no sense of urgency that is really necessary to the Chinese challenge right now.
Gordon?
Okay. Any comments on that?
Shalom. So with all this drone stuff that is happening now, and what a lot of people don't seem to understand, I really look at it as the sword of the Lord of hosts, right? Getting ready to come through. So I was watching a video earlier that they said that in Germany, Ramstein Air Force Base also have been having a lot of drones in their area this month. So it's not only here, the military bases in the U.S., but in Germany also. So they got to know what's going on. I know there's communication between the U.S. bases and the bases in Germany. So it's just that they're thinking they can run to their bunkers and hide from all of this and not let the people know actually what's going on. But, like I said, I just think it's the sword of the Lord of hosts.
Well, exactly. And we gotta look at the fact that Biden tied to the Chinese. That's what the thing is with him and about his son. It's with China. The China had been China had been funding a whole bunch of money to him through his son. So you got to look at all that. Okay, so yeah, it's a lot going on. But like I said before, deliverance. Our deliverance is on the backs of these Russians and these Chinese. Leave that. When it unfolds, you remember where it came from. So with that being said, I opened up for some Q&A. No, I already did that, right? I opened up for Q&A. So let's go into our topic for discussion. And then we'll close out. We already passed the hour. I'm reading out of this time. I'm kind of bouncing off of that Shabbat class, evening Shabbat class when we was talking about lineages and the man holding the seed and all that. So I'm in Leviticus, and I'm in 18. You know, Leviticus is deal with our laws, our statutes. When Most High says keep his laws, statutes, and judgments, a lot of it is in Leviticus. So I'm in chapter 18. I'm gonna just read the chapter, and then anybody have anything, we'll talk about it. So it says this: the acts of immorality forbidden. This is part of Israel culture, right? And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, check it out. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwelt. So they was in Egypt. They picked up some of their ways. Shall ye not do, right? Egyptology, shall ye not do. And after the doings of the land of Canaan. So what's going on in the land of Canaan? That's where a lot of the women worship coming in there. Nimrod and Samantha or Asherah. Okay? They worshiping women. Land of Canaan tied in. Okay? Whether I bring you, shall ye not do. Neither shall you walk in their ordinances. So you got ordinances that's not Israel, that don't pertain to Israel. Israel got ordinances, but you got ordinances from these other nations, these heathen nations that we don't supposed to be doing. Right? And that's what we caught up in right now. So it says, ye shall do my judgments and keep my ordinances to walk therein. I am the Lord your God. And ye shall therefore keep my statutes, my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord. So right here, when you understand who this Lord is, the Lord of hosts, is Michael. This is the tree of life in the garden. Read again, verse 5. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes, my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord. That's the tree of life. Keep these statutes and these judgments that he got, because that's what they gave Adam, these same laws. If you keep these laws, then you're going to live. That's the tree of life. Okay? 6, none of you shall approach to any that is near or kin to him to uncover the nakedness. I am thy Lord. So this is what we're talking about right here. The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shall thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. This is what we was talking about earlier. I think it was maybe Saturday morning, Shabbat, about animal. Most I say is going to keep us from our animalistic nature. So it says, the nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother shall thou not uncover. She is thy mother, thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. So that's about sexual encounters, right? Your father's nakedness is his private parts, and your mother's nakedness is her private parts. So if you fumbling with that, that's sexual orientation, right? So that's what happened with Noah. Japhet came and he uncovered Noah's nakedness, which is his wife, right? 8, and the nakedness of thy father's wife shall thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. So the woman is thy father's nakedness. His wife. 9, nakedness of thy sister. See that? Like the daughter of thy father or the daughter of thy mother, whether she be born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness are not uncovered. The nakedness of thy son's daughter or daughter's daughter, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover, for there is thy own nakedness. See that? So So your little cousin and all them is the same as your nakedness. Bone of my bone. Okay. 10. The nakedness of thy son's daughter or the daughter's daughter, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover, for theirs is thine own nakedness. The nakedness of thy father's wife, daughter, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister. She is thy father's near kinswoman. That's cousin. Auntie. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, for she is thy mother's near kinsman. That's it. That's your auntie. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's brother. Thou shalt not approach to his wife. She is thine aunt, right? Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter. She is thy son's wife. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. It is thy brother's nakedness. And thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of of a woman and her daughter. Neither shalt thou take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter, cover her nakedness, for they are her near kinsmen. It is wickedness. See that? It is wickedness. Neither shalt thou take a wife of her sister to vex her, to uncover her nakedness besides the other in her lifetime. Also, thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness as long as she is put apart for her uncleanness. So what is he talking about? She's on a period, right? And just look at that, how we disregard that. These judgments and statutes that the Most High is talking about, we ain't doing, right? Also, thou shalt not, 20. Moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally with thy wife, to defile thyself with her, and thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Moloch, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. So, like I said, the Moabites, go back to what we was talking about yesterday, Ruth and Naomi. Naomi Ruth was a Moabite priestess. So you say, what is that? She the woman that was standing up there by the altar when they brought the child, the newborn baby up there. They gave it to her. She the one put it in the fire. Okay, let that ferment. Okay, then 22. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as thou with a womankind. It is an abomination. Shalt thou lie with any beast of the field, thyself therewith, neither shall anyone stand before to lie down thereof. It is confusion. So, like I said before, we not ignorant to the fact of who doing this, but at the same time, we still running to them for clarity and understanding, and that these the very people he's talking about. Right? 24. Defile not yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled, which are cast out before you. See that? The very people you going to that you looking up to, the Most High abhor. You can cast them out. Okay? 25. And the land is defiled. Therefore, I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomited out their inhabitants. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and I shall not commit and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourn among you. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. So Canaanites, when Israel got there, the land was defiled because of what the Canaanites was doing, all the stuff I just read. For all these abominations have the men of the land done for you, and is defiled, that the land spew not you out. Also, when you defile it, as it spewed out the nations that were before it. We know that's exactly what happened. We got spewed out in 143 BC. For whosoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the soul that commit them shall be cut off from among their people. Therefore shall ye keep my ordinances, that ye commit not any of these abominations, customs which were committed before you, that ye defile not yourselves therein. I am the Lord your God. So that was Leviticus chapter. Anybody got any comments on that? Questions? Okay. Everybody good? Okay. So somebody got something?
No, sir, I was just saying yes.
Okay. So with that being said, we're gonna say shalom. Apologize about that little mishap I had. I had some computer problem. So bear with me. So I want to say shalom, shalom, and another shalom.